everyone. Welcome to this special Gaslit Nation Stay Ungaslit mini episode. It was part of our salon discussion this month of March, and I want to bring this to your attention. I know there's a lot happening. If you thought SignalGate was bad, and there's a monster truck pileup of bad out there from the Trump regime, but now you need to meet ArchiveGate. Trump fired the National Archivist, the first U.S. president to do so since the position was established in the 1930s. Why? Well, many reasons. He's at war with the United States because he's a Russian asset, so there's one. But he's also getting revenge for the archivist office, not this particular archivist who he fired, Colleen Shogan, because she wasn't even around. Just the office itself he's going after for alerting the DOJ that Trump stole classified documents and was holding on to them. And those documents, it turned out, were stored in ballrooms and other places, easily accessible at Mar-a-Lago, his private Palm Beach resort, known to be a viper den of foreign spies from China and Russia and the oligarchy from around the world trying to take advantage. And there were America's national security secrets, including nuclear program secrets, just floating around Mar-a-Lago. So it was the nerds at the National Archives that first got that big Jack Smith case going by alerting the DOJ, like, hey, this longtime corrupt criminal, I mean, they didn't say it like that, but we all know what they meant. This longtime corrupt criminal who made a career stealing from people and being a criminal is holding on to our National Archive, like holding on to sensitive material. It's like, we need that back. So Trump, being as vindictive as he is, could not wait to purge the National Archives. But here's what's happening now. Remember when Trump's first term was full of officials with acting in their title, meaning they were in that position or supposed to be in that position temporarily until a new official could be confirmed? It's not great to have so many acting officials in a cabinet because it means that things are unstable. And so the first term, you had like an acting Secretary of Defense, like all that was going on. So it's even worse this time around, as we're seeing. Not only are there acting officials, but many of these officials are taking over departments. They're not allowed to even oversee because that would be a massive conflict of interest. And they're wearing many hats by overseeing several major departments at once. All of this is not normal, of course. So the big center of ArchiveGate is Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who, as we all know, is a lapdog for Trump and Putin. He openly endorses denying visa holders due process and deporting them in violation of the First Amendment for free speech. So Marco Rubio, on top of all that, is also an acting official, juggling three major jobs, creating a unprecedented conflict of interest. Marco Rubio is not only Secretary of State, he's also head of USAID and the acting National Archivist of the United States, the acting head of the National Archives and Records Administration, which the conflict of interest here is off the charts. These agencies are supposed to be independent. The archivist, for instance, decides which government records are fit to be destroyed and which ones should not be. And those requests from government agencies may submit requests to the archivist saying, can we destroy this? Do we need to hold on to it? How do we handle these materials? Now, Marco Rubio can submit and greenlight his own document destruction requests and do that for any other obedient lapdog in Trump's ruling clique. I want to stress to you again, the Secretary of State is now juggling three major agencies, including the archives, which preserve government records. And not only that, the archives are seen as the very scaffolding of our political system, as Fast Company explains. I'm going to read from their article that I'll link to in the show notes. The National Archives and Records Administration does more than just collect, digitize, and maintain government records. As an independent agency within the executive branch, it's responsible for, among other things, administering the Electoral College process by providing the official instructions for how the states transmit electors' votes to Congress, overseeing the process of ratifying new constitutional amendments, managing the document classification system, and in turn, the delicate balance between public transparency and national security, and publicizing the Code of Federal Regulations and the Federal Register, the two documents that codify rules and chronicle the daily goings-on, respectively, of the federal government. Wow. Okay. So I was first alerted to this story by Gaslit Nation listener Keisha, who is the secretary for Gaslit Nation's archive committee, where we are keeping track of this hellfire in real time and calling on you, our listeners, to submit your own historical record, your own eyewitness accounts of living through this, because we are in a fight not just for our lives, but for historical truth. One day they're going to say none of this ever happened. So if you want to submit your own survey to track what we're living through and stay grounded, I will link to this wonderful survey put together by Keisha and other Gaslit Nation listeners on our archive committee. But Keisha was the one at a recent Gaslit Nation salon who said, hey, everyone, pay attention to this. This is central. They're sneaking up on us like they always are trying to do. So I'm going to play a clip of Keisha first bringing this to our attention because I think she does a really good job in ringing the alarm. I'll play that clip now.
He fired the Archivist of the United States, and he fired her with no cause. And he was, of course, supposed to report. So that was an illegal firing. The acting Archivist of the United States is actually Marco Rubio right now. There's no reason for him to be the acting archivist of the United States. The deputy archivist who's responsible for the day-to-day stuff that's going on is someone named Jim Byron, and he was chosen by Trump, and he sort of is the senior advisor to Marco Rubio, and he is not a professional archivist. Neither, of course, Marco Rubio has no expertise. So they're both non-professional with no experience, and that is against the one thing that you have to be if you're appointed National Archivist is an actual archivist, someone who has professional background in the field. So both of those things are illegal, but the larger concern is about political interference and historical interference by bad actors in the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA. So NARA actually does more than we think it does. It doesn't just hold on to our, historical, of course, it's very important, but it doesn't only hold on to our historical documents and, preserve them and all of that. It also does records administration. And as part of that, it has several roles which are involved in electoral college, the constitutional amendments, and other things like the document classification system. That is that they are responsible for declassifying. So they have sort of two ways that they can, so if we go, this is kind of into historical interference, which of course is politically motivated historical interference, but they can not only destroy documents, but they can keep them confidential when it's not necessary so that we don't have insight into what is going on in the government. And one of the ways we do have insight is through FOIA requests. And at the individual departments, like the State Department, et cetera, they have fired FOIA staff. And also the FOIA staff can, if they can't get what they need, or they want to inquire whether something can be declassified, they work with NARA. So NARA has has an ability to falsely record history, basically. It's all very concerning.
So while there's a lot going on, keep your eye on ArchiveGate, because this level of corruption is how they plan to stay in power. Obviously, the people ultimately decide, and right now Trump is acting more like Viktor Yanukovych than his idol Hitler. Even the chaotic infighting and rampant corruption of the Nazis had more discipline than this, but don't forget, we, the people, are the power. Join a Tesla protest near you and spread the word about the ArchiveGate crisis, okay? Thank you, Gaslit Nation listeners like Keisha, who help us keep track of the important stories in this deliberate fire hose of terror as they try to wear us down. That's how we get through this. We overcome together.